And we're back again. Welcome to We Are Tottenham TV for your instant match reaction and then the post-match fan show where you guys will have the chance to come on. I believe the link will be in the members section soon. Spurs have lost 2-1 to Aston Villa, our second Premier League defeat of the season. Both of them coming at home. We've won 3 games out of 18 in the calendar year. Not a good day at the office, Iggy.
Yeah, no, definitely not a good day at the office today, and we'll get into it, do a bit of a breakdown. I mean, I've saying it off air. There's 3 games out of 18. With under Ange, that was a different season. I know it's not great in all looking at it like that. Under Ange was different. Frank, I don't think should be brought into that. But of course, the trend at home for our home games in terms of results have to change and very, very quickly, because now teams they've got a taste now. They can come to Spurs and get a result, and in the second half, Aston Villa with their changes, they felt, I said it, they made those changes. For those 2 attacking changes, they feel like they can go and win it. And they were rightly rewarded, but we'll get into that, I'm sure. We will do. I mean, first of all, got a super chat in straight away from Joseph. Scary, we haven't faced Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, and even Palace and Everton will be tough. We might be cooked with our attacks. Listen, I get what you're saying, but we have beat Man City away. We do have a problem with the front line. There is no doubt about that. We do have a problem, in my opinion, and we'll get yours in a minute, Iggy, with this Bentancur, Paulinho double pivot, especially at home. Let's start from the beginning. Obviously, we started off, come out the blocks, firing on all cylinders. Yeah. Took the lead early with a great cross from Kudus on the left, with Paulinho getting the assist for Bentancur to put the ball in. And we got off to a lively start, didn't we? Yeah, we started off well. We started off really well, got the early goal. Defensively, I don't think we really in that first half, apart from Matty Cash's shot that went wide and maybe one intervention that Bukayo had to make from across, I don't think defensively had much to do. I know people going on about this double pivot you just mentioned, and I don't think that was the issue because Bentancur was given a bit more license to go forward and press, which he did really well at the front, the tell. You can argue then afterwards, after his goal, Bentancur's performance slightly dropped a little bit, and we can get into that. But I don't think the double pivot we played without. We had Paulinho sitting there. Bentancur had the license to go, and then you got the number 10 in Simmons, and we can argue, we can debate his performance as well. I don't argue, debate his performance as well. But in terms of how we were structurally made, I don't feel like was the issue. Neither was the back four. But of course, the final third, we right from that's where we need to change. We need to be a bit more of a threat. Yep. But in terms of the start, 15, 20 minutes, we scored another goal, which was ruled for offside. After that, Villa got into it, and that's where our mistake was allowing them to come back into it. And more importantly, the thing that annoyed me, because you got to expect their position to come at you, but it's giving them control. We lost control of giving them control rather, and we started to lose the midfield, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, also let's bring it to Kevin Danso, who I thought had a very, very good game defensively. But obviously, you could see, like we were trying with those long balls, the difference Romero brings with his passing. I think Danso defensively was as solid as he always is, but we lost, and we could see we were going for those long balls, weren't we? And we just were missing those timing. But like you said, had the second goal disallowed for offside, rightfully so. Rightfully so, of course. But and then it was just a bit of back and forth, really, until Villa had their opportunity. Obviously, great shot from Morgan Rogers. Simmons, who had been doing some good defensive work,
got the ball back, but it just ricocheted to Rodgers, who just released an absolute bullet of a shot, didn't he?
We had the players behind the ball. We was getting them behind the ball, and you know, we was firing. The way we was set up with the two banks of fours and stuff like that was absolutely fine with that. But my issue with that was we wasn't then in the areas that we wanted, especially when it came into half and we had all the players in our half pretty much. We wasn't then putting any kind of pressure on the ball, and we was kind of standoff and just watching them play. But when they start getting into your edge of the D, and you got players that are threatening it, you got to close them down early, and that's where that goal came from, and the second, for the matter. But particularly in the first half, we didn't press them enough, and I don't understand why we're able to press all the way outside the area, but then when they come into our area, we're not closing them down. We were very watchful. We were very passive in that situation, and Rodgers, you know, hit a good strike, and yeah, they were back in the game with their first shot on goal.
Yep. And then we come out in the second half, and in the second half again we start lively.
Yeah.
Just couldn't make it count, and then obviously Villa, when they made two very, very positive subs, and we're going to get onto Frank and the subs and everything in a minute, but obviously they had a big impact. They scored a very, very well-worked goal. A great ball in from Matty Cash, so I hate to say anything positive about him. Taken down very, very well. I forgot the player. Was it Watkins that brought the ball down?
It might have been Watkins. I can't remember now.
And then obviously to Bundia, who puts a brilliant curling shot in. It's a very soft goal to give away, again, from not coming out and attacking or trying to close them down. But he's taken it very well, hasn't he?
Like I said, we again in the second half with a 5-minute spell, and then after that they regained control of the game, and we made a change with Richarlison first. They countered that straight away with two attacking changes.
Yep.
So they sensed that they can go and take this game. I don't feel that one change was enough. I think we should have made at least two, maybe minimum two, if not three. For me,
yep.
But he made one change, and they countered that with two, and even with the cameo appearance from Richarlison, didn't really do nothing.
Nope.
Even with him on the pitch, so there wasn't that. I didn't see that great difference from Tell to Richarlison with that change. Then they made a 2-10, and they regained control, and they looked more threatening. And I don't feel that Villa felt any kind of threat from our attacking, from all our attacking players. Simmons. Kudos, Odebert, they were dealing with it. They were dealing with any kind of threat. We had a couple of opportunities to score as well. You know, the air shot from Colin Wine comes to mind. And then even when we made those changes with Colin Wine, how long did that take to make those two changes, Colin Wine and Bergvall?
Yep.
It took too long. And then we've made our final changes with Johnson. We've gone to a back three. To bring Johnson into a back three and play him as a wing-back, I felt in that moment that Emery, and this is my critical, Frank, is based on today's performances. I'm not going to go with what he's done previously. Today's performance, Emery's reading of the game and acting with the substitutions made the difference. Yep. And they went and got the points based on what he read and acted on compared to what our manager read and acted on.
Great. Listen, people know my feelings on Thomas Frank. He's got it wrong today. I will never be scared to admit it and say it. It just weren't at the office today, and he's made some wrong decisions without a doubt. I mean, first of all, we have got to have Xavi Simons get his mojo. He's got to find his mojo. He's very, very quiet today, but that front line needs open heart surgery in January. It needs some quality additions. Kudus wasn't his normal self today, was he? He looked exhausted after all the travelling internationally. I think the subs should have been made earlier.
Yeah.
I think there was people should be. That midfield needed some energy and some pizzazz, and I thought Pape Matar would have been that player. Obviously, the manager didn't. But he has got it wrong today. I pick no bones with that. I will give him. I will criticise just as much as I praise him. I still think he's an absolutely wonderful manager. I think we are 8 Premier League games into his tenure. I have full confidence that things will get turned around, and it's way too early to start talking as negatively as I've seen social media and people in the chat talking. It's just we've become a fan base that are just, if it's not going well in 7 games, change it all.
Look, at the moment, people are like us, man. We're not happy with especially for me, more so in the second half performance and the result, of course. And we're now reacting towards that in the chat, and it's reflecting in the chat, it's reflecting Frank out and Keeper out and then Towel out, and it's reflecting in everything, and it's reactionary. And I understand that to a certain degree. My thing though is that, if you're going to set up with 4 attacking players, which is what we are, Kudus, Xavi, Odobert and Tel, all attacking players. If you're going to set up like that, you've got to make sure that you are hurting teams with that. Because if you don't, then you literally cut those 4 out of the game, and you're dealing with 4 defenders and 2 the pivot, if you like. So I think where Kudus was a little bit off it today, whatever the reasons may be, we are really reliant on Kudus in our attacking play. What if he's off the ball? What are the alternatives? Where are the alternatives?
Correct.
So for me, we should have beefed up a little bit more in midfield, especially at 1-1. You're seeing it. Try and regain control of the midfield. In that second half, we went through a period where we started to lose that midfield. We needed to inject energy into that midfield. If it means taking one of the attacking players off to put Sarr or Bergvall, do it. And put Simmons out wide. I was saying it during the game. Put him out wide and really strengthen that midfield, because at 1-1 you're still there. You may not be better than them in that moment, but you're still there. But it didn't happen, and it reacted far too late. That's my criticism of our manager, is why he didn't read that situation early. At the game still 1-1. Once they take the lead, now you've got to now put your energies to try and find that goal. And there's spaces now that where they're playing high up, they're not playing as high up anymore. Once they take it, they drop. So where does Johnson now come? Where does Johnson come? Johnson relies on the space in behind. So you've got to bring him up when they're playing higher to allow those breaks like Saab breaking from midfield. Once they take the lead and they drop 20 yards, Saar's involvement and Johnson's involvement is not going to be as effective as you would like it to be. So I just wish they'd acted on it a little bit more sooner, because I'm telling you, we would have gone on to win that game. And to lose a game where you felt you could have gone on to win by just tweaking a few things, maybe taking one of the attacking players, because there weren't. You had 4 attacking players, and not even Kudos, that weren't being effective enough for where you needed them to be effective. And that's the frustration part.
So before I return to that, just to let you know, the game has kicked off at Anfield, and Manchester United have taken a very, very early lead through Brian and Buemo. So Man U are currently 1-0 up at Anfield. Right, let's go back. Like I said, I look at this, like you said, at the moment, creativity is a major issue. Xavi Simons obviously was quiet today in that field. Kudus we rely on. And then you look at this front line that Frank or any manager who would have been in at this time has to deal with. And when you've got Richarlison, you're trying to keep fit, Mawani just coming back, Odobert, Tell, and Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of managers that can go, right, Joe, what, I'm going to get this strike force firing. A lot of them haven't played regular first-team football, and he needs to work on it. I mean, I said a couple of weeks ago, I would rather see Brennan Johnson up top and put him in the centre, because at least you know if he gets the chance and he's in the area, he can put the ball in the net. We need to fix this front line. We need to address it. We need, Joe, I still say Solanke could be, with Simmons and Xavi, he could be the key. There is a key to unlock this strike force until January, which Frank has got to find and he's got to address. But it's a very, very weak front line compared to what we're used to at Tottenham. We've got a super chat in from, I'm going to try to say his name, Watahai. Tell and Ben, I think that's Ben as in Bentancur, shouldn't start again. Switch Vic with Kinski and we will be able to hold on till January. What do you make of that?
So we're back on the goalkeeper scene.
Yeah, let's have a quick chat about the Vicario one.
Look, if we feel that the problems that we had on our team today all stems from the goalkeeper, then change him. Change him. It's no problem for me. I think that there were a lot of problems in the team today, especially in that second half. First of mine being that we cannot play with 4 attacking players if they're not making a dent. And for me today, it wasn't. It didn't pay off. It didn't play with 4 attacking players that didn't prove any kind of threat in front of goal. I don't remember any of them having a threat of any kind in front of goal. Was probably one too many. And for me, like I said, I think if we had added an extra midfielder in there, and maybe put Simmons out wide on the left, perhaps it would have been so you would have had 3 proper midfielders and then 3 forwards. Then perhaps the game could have gone a bit different. I don't know, guys, because we could have still ended up losing the game. But without, that's my take on it. If you want to go more on the players thing, of course, there's players today didn't play as well. Our four attacking players didn't play well. You can argue the back 4 were okay. They don't really have a lot really to deal with. Paulinho, I thought, was our best player. Bentancur was. As the kids say, 6 and 7. So
my nephew said that. What the hell is that? What is that?
But we forget about it. I've been getting it with my boys as well. So it was one of them ones where it was good and bad. Bentancur. I think the fact that he's got more freedom to go forward enables him to press higher, suits his game a bit better. He got the goal. You have to look at the positives. Then he kind of with the rest of our team, it kind of I don't think we can do. I think either if you've got to have Bentancur, Paulinho, and I think one between Bergvall and Sarr has to be in there. I think Sarr gives us a lot of energy, a lot of legs as well. So you don't lose often midfield when you play with 3 of them there. And we've lost the midfield today. We lost the midfield, especially in the second half. Once they take control, you have to break that, and we didn't do that. We didn't.
I am just saying, because I've seen a few in the chat, especially a friend of mine, Billy, going, "Am I franking?" I am 100,000 million, billion, trillion, gazillion % franking. If this is what we're doing as Spurs fans now, people remember Mauricio Pochettino, who until we beat Aston Villa in November with that Harry Kane deflected free kick, was on the verge of being sacked. Then he brought up Bentaleb and Ryan Mason. And then in the second half of the season, we were phenomenal and went on to things. Previous match, just because we've had a defeat, our second defeat of the entire season, Frank hasn't even had 2 windows. Frank hasn't even been able to put out his full strength team compared to previous managers that have had their full strength team from the beginning. So this has got to stop.
It's too soon. It's too soon to be calling out the manager for sacking him. You can call out the manager for not getting the changes right. You can call out the manager perhaps tactically not getting it right. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. To debate that. Debate he didn't get the changes. Debate that he could have tactically made a few tweaks, and which probably would have turned the tide in his favour. No problem with that. But to say the manager out at this point of the season, and also to be discussing another thing, guys. I know people talking in the chat about players that we need this player, we need this, we need a winger, we need a striker. There's no point talking about the transfer market when we're still in October. Let's discuss this in January, or nearer to January, rather than now. I don't think to say what we need now. I don't think it's going to be any. It's pointless to discuss what we need right now. These are the players that we got, and until January, we've got to move forward with it.